Speaking of, in particular, Netflix docuseries that you've been working on, Diddy Do It.
Right.
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you said you weren't a part of that lifestyle, you weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations. I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else. But I did feel uncomfortable with the way he would present the idea of going to these projects.
No, like he called, we should kick it on telephone and shit after the main shit.
Right.
And be like, matter of fact, they sent me the girl pictures, like pictures of this girl, like not the that y'all saw.
Now, Fifth, when you continuously call Puff,
he doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like, he says something to and he goes, yo, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What is he talking about?
Incident has gone off.
When people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable.
This is goes off. Well, this is a little fruit. It's a fruit pie. It's a fruit pie.
Those people who was caught at Diddy party did not know that he had 250 tape recorders.
Break me down, to build me up again. They like, Hov, we need you back so we could kill your ass again. You know, it's like this thing, this love.
Public discussion took a sharp turn after unconfirmed material began circulating online, unexpectedly drawing attention to high-profile names such as Jay-Z and Diddy. The development caught many off guard and quickly became a major topic across social media platforms. Speculation spread rapidly, often outpacing verified information. As the conversation intensified, 50 Cent addressed the situation. His response stood out for its seriousness and restraint. There was no humor or provocation in his words. Instead, he spoke carefully, as someone fully aware of the weight and potential consequences of speaking publicly. While his remarks did not establish facts or offer direct conclusions, they suggested that the public discussion may be focused on only a small part of a much broader issue. The message was subtle but deliberate. In situations involving influential individuals, measured statements often signal that significant details remain undisclosed. When voices become cautious rather than outspoken, it usually reflects the complexity and sensitivity of events still unfolding.
Yeah, that wasn't the thing. It wasn't, people say that, he lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Like, no, not they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. See, I got the receipt for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Can I need no? You here, get your no.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
A few albums, a few people, you know, made to be famous, but they not here to tell their story. Black Rob, Biggie, Craig Mack. They not here to tell their story, bro. And now you got everybody telling his story.
Yeah, and I know 50, he did a recent interview with US Weekly saying that the reason why rappers are quiet about, you know, Diddy's situation is because they've been to his parties and they don't know what got caught on tape.
Bruh, those people who was caught at Diddy party did not know that he had 250 tape recorders in that house. That's a big house. But he had 250 tape recorders in that house that they took, that the feds found. So now with them finding all that and you being at a Diddy party, you know you may have done something that was caught on one of those tapes. You just better pray to God that they don't recognize you. Those people who know that they did something, no, they're not going to speak out. They're not going to say nothing. What part of the game is that? They are not going to come forward and tell on themselves. Nah, not at all. Ice Cube, he said it himself, bro. He said that Diddy's been targeted because of what he said about those folks and those people. Now,
the long-standing tension between Jay-Z and 50 Cent did not emerge overnight. It has existed quietly for many years, shaped by contrasting paths and distinct public personas. Both artists rose from difficult beginnings to build influential careers, yet they approached success in very different ways. Jay-Z became known for restraint, strategy, and a carefully managed public image. In contrast, 50 Cent built his reputation on directness and outspoken commentary, often choosing transparency even when it carried professional risks. These opposing styles have fueled ongoing discussion within the hip-hop community. When 50 Cent recently revisited questions about how success is achieved, he reignited a familiar conversation. The discussion was not solely about accomplishments, but about perception, authenticity, and the role presentation plays in building influence. In hip-hop culture, success often brings heightened scrutiny. As power grows, so does the debate over what is genuine, what is strategic, and how narratives are shaped for the public. That tension remains a central part of the genre's history and its ongoing dialogue.
One that went through Jimmy Henchman proffer agreement for a drug case. And the proffer agreement revealed that Jimmy Henchman, he could have walked away if he would have given up Diddy. What she mean by that?
well, what happened was is that they had 9 different sections with Jimmy Henchman regarding his proffer agreement. So that means the feds went in there 9 different times to talk to him. And in those sessions, they asked him, what do you know about Sean Puffy Combs or Sean Diddy Combs? I don't think it was Puffy at that time. It wasn't Diddy at the time. But what do you know about Sean John Puffy Combs having sex with underage boys? And you got to realize, and people never think about this, that Jimmy and his brother, I think they had the same charges. But his brother walked away from that, and Jimmy gets life without the possibility of parole, I think. Which is crazy. For any drug charge. Nobody should spend their life in jail for drug charges. And just drug charges. But I think they try to tie him to some murders or something like that. I don't know that to be for sure. But he shouldn't spend his life in jail for no drug charges. Not at all. So, but they was gonna let him walk. If he'd have probably had to for that proffer agreement, they probably let him walk. If he had any information regarding Puff having sex with underage boys. That the feds asked him in 2011. In 2011, brother. So what did the feds know? Because the feds not coming there unless somebody made a report or somebody made some allegations against Puff in 2011 to ask a friend of his, Jimmy Henchman, what do you know about that? But for them to ask him about that, it had to be more than a rumor. Somebody made a complaint somewhere. And the feds got hold to that complaint. Now they're going to investigate that complaint when they get people under the barrel, like they had Jimmy Henchman. That's why they asked him.
if he did know information, right, why you think he didn't tell?
Then they would ask, how do you know? And then it comes into play, whereas that if you know of anybody that's in danger in the welfare of a child, and you see that, and you don't report it, you're just as guilty as the person who does it.
50 Cent later referenced an incident unfamiliar to most of the public. It involved a backstage remark made by Jay-Z that was presented as lighthearted at the time. While it appeared harmless on the surface, the moment carried a different meaning behind closed doors and was perceived as dismissive. That memory remained unspoken for years. Only recently did 50 Cent choose to acknowledge it, suggesting that certain experiences leave a lasting impression even when they are not addressed immediately. In creative industries where reputation and self-respect carry significant weight, brief interactions can have long-term consequences. Public success does not always resolve personal grievances. Instead, unresolved moments often remain dormant, resurfacing when circumstances change. In environments shaped by competition and visibility, respect is remembered just as clearly as achievement.
First and foremost, I just want to say, I know a lot of people want to hear these stories and everything like that, because this is stuff that happened back in the day. And then maybe that if they knew there was going to ever be a YouTube, or they knew there was going to ever be social media, a lot of the stuff probably wouldn't have got played out like it did. But things happen, and these are just stories from the past. I would like to use that as, what you call that, just to clear the facts up what's going on. But it all started, we was in Atlanta. And this story starts when I'm with Puff, and he's in the exotic bookstores, and he's doing shopping, right? He's shopping, getting his stuff and everything like that. So, you know, this is the first time I was ever in an exotic bookstore with Puff. So, you know, I'm giving him his space. He's taking things off the shelves and stuff like that, because they gave him a brown paper bag. When they gave him a brown paper bag, he was just putting stuff in there. So I said, damn, you know, he got to go put it on the counter and, you know, show everybody what he's getting. So as he's going, I'm just looking at the places where he's picking stuff from. So there's one part he picked up some things from up here on my left side. And then he picked like quite a few of them down. I'm like, okay. He put them in the bag. So when I went by there and I looked up there and it said butt plugs. And I was like, hey, yo. I was messing with him. Because people don't understand, you know, we was like friends. He was a part of the same gang. So I'm still gonna tease him. I'm still gonna mess with him and everything like that. I could do that. It wasn't just no security thing. So I say, yo, what are you getting this for? And it said butt plugs. And he was like, yo, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yeah, you could do it by yourself, brother. And he started walking and everything like that. When he got I just waited at the counter. When he got to the counter, he didn't even have to show the guy nothing. He just gave the guy a wad of money. I mean, like, he gave the guy a stack, something like this. And Puff wasn't the dude that carried no 20s and no 50s and nothing like that. And I mean, like, he just said, boom. And we walked out the store. So we had to leave Atlanta and go to North Carolina for a show. You understand? And it was him, this rapper, Sarah, and this other girl. We all got on a G.
Discussion took on greater weight when attention shifted to Jay-Z's business journey, particularly his professional split with Dame Dash. For some observers, that chapter represented evolution and strategic growth. For others, it raised questions about loyalty and the cost of advancement. 50 Cent framed the issue around a broader concern rather than a single event. He questioned whether success feels the same when achievement involves distancing oneself from early partners. Who stands beside you during the climb, and who remains once the summit is reached? While Jay-Z is often recognized for sharp business decisions, the conversation highlighted a deeper theme that extends beyond individual careers. It asked whether victory holds the same meaning when personal ties are left behind. At some point, every influential figure encounters this moment of reflection. As reputations grow, so does the scrutiny surrounding how success was achieved and what was sacrificed along the way.
And we flew the G4 jet, and we flew to North Carolina. So later on that, I think that afternoon, same day, this rapper and him, they all in the room together. You know, it's Sarah, the girl, Puff, and this dude, this rapper. So I'm here at the door and stuff like that, like, yeah. So then next thing you know, somebody rang the doorbell. We had the presidential suite where we was at. So I opened the door and the dude said, yo, I'm here for my cousin. I said, who your cousin? And he said, Ja Rule. I said, well, he busy right now. He said, he busy doing what? I said, he with Puff, they're in the room, they busy, they don't want to be bothered. He said, well, I'm going in there. I said, bruh, you ain't going in there because he told me they don't want nobody to be bothering them. He was like, yo, I don't care, man, I'm going in there. That bull like that. I said, yo, bruh, Jesus Christ had to come down here and take the air out of my body before you get in that room right there. Watch. He tried to bum rush me. I grabbed it and threw him against the piano. When I threw him into the piano, Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they butt the naked. And so then Ja was like, yo, what's going on? Yo, G, that's my cousin. He know me well, you know, and Puff was like, yo, G, what happened? I said, he tried to get in the room. I told him he couldn't get in the room. And he was like, he just looked, Puff looked at Ja. He said, yo, Ja said, you ain't want to go in that room because there's a lot of freaking going on. So I was like, oh, he said it was a lot of freaking going on. So that was basically that story, man. You know what I'm saying? They went back in the room, dude felt a certain kind of way, and he left out. So I seen them at the concert the next day, and they tried to, you know, form up against me. But my man Frank was like, I told my man Frank, I was like, yo, Frank, put yourself in that position. Somebody trying to get in the room, and Ja told you don't let nobody get in the room. What would you do? Now, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do, man, but you know I ain't taking no losses. He said, yo, you good, and that was it. Bruh, when Ja said, you don't want to come up in there, a lot of freaky stuff is going on. You got to use your mind. What they was doing with those butt plugs.
Right. Yeah,
that was crazy. Yeah, it was real wild.
At that point, the conversation moved beyond what sounded like a personal dispute. 50 Cent appeared to suggest that recent unverified reports involving Diddy and Jay-Z could point to a broader issue within the industry itself. Rather than focusing on individuals, his remarks drew attention to how influence and reputation shape what is discussed publicly and what remains unspoken. He described an environment in which discretion, professional alliances, and power structures often determine who is shielded from scrutiny. Within this framework, certain figures appear insulated not because of established facts, but due to long-standing systems that discourage open challenge. The tone of his message did not resemble a direct accusation. Instead, it came across as a cautionary observation. When institutions prioritize protection over transparency, pressure builds quietly. Over time, those pressures tend to surface, revealing weaknesses that can no longer be ignored.
Tupac or no? Did you ever?
No, I saw him right before he passed too. Yeah, that's crazy. Never worked with him though.
What did Tupac do? He did gang-related Poetic Justice. He did Juice. And he did a couple other things. He did a basketball.
Did something with Jim Belushi. Remember he did the one thing?
Yeah. What did he do? Can you Above the Rim? Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson, which I thought it was great.
Yeah. Bullet, I think is.
Oh yeah, Gang Related's album soundtrack was actually good. I don't know if you've listened to the Gang Related soundtrack. It was
Not in a minute. Not in a minute.
Yeah, it was a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Cuba, with all this stuff that's coming up with Diddy and you're on one end, 50 Cent is calling out Diddy and here's what he's doing and all this stuff, and they got the back and forth.
Yeah.
I got Suge on here.
Look at this example. Look what happened.
Yeah. And I got Suge on. Yeah, exactly. No question about it. What do you think is going on with all the stuff with Diddy, with Little Rod, with, all the stories that everybody's hearing about?
You mean in terms of what?
I mean, being raiding his house being raided.
I mean, that's crazy. That's the craziest thing I'd ever. And then, hey, how about me? I wake up in the morning, I turn and say, Sean, actor Cuba Gooding Jr. I was like, excuse me, pull me into this. I think whatever he's dealing with, he's on his journey, man. I think that God has got him on a path where I can't imagine that he's stupid enough to do whatever he's doing and keep it on his premises. I think that the raid and all of that stuff, only time will tell who was involved, who had been a frequent guest in these places and areas. It's funny because my lawyers said, every outlet in the world wants to talk to you. And again, I'm not defining myself from some headline in the press. So I stayed quiet. And it's so funny. So I'll tell you a little story about who my girlfriend is. She gave Robert De Niro 3 grandkids. Her name is Claudine De Niro. She married his son, Raphael. They separated and we've been together for a while. But she, at one point, ran Naomi Campbell's publicity. She, at one point, ran P. Diddy's publicity, right when he started doing the white party thing. Mm-hmm. He had just gotten freed from indictment, found not guilty. Did he? And he said to her, I'm gonna die running with these niggas, man. I need you to help me with the white folks and the switch. And so she helped cultivate his new image. So they had a friendship for years. But I had never met him till probably 2019-20, just casually, Claudine and I. He invited us to his house. The pandemic was starting to ease. And hadn't seen him since that night where this guy with this picture, it says that I had my shoulder on him and all this stuff, making it look sordid. Well, that picture, everyone in the room, there's probably 300 of us on the deck of P. Diddy's, I'm going to show you, on P. Diddy's boat, New Year's Eve. I went from one ship, Happy New Year. So I hung out with Tyson, and next ship, there's Drake. This ship had P. Diddy. He had his guy, his videographer. They're listening to music. And he says, hey, Cube, listen, you want to hear P. Diddy's new song? I said, yeah, sure. Sit down next to him. They didn't use this angle, which to me makes me laugh, because I go, oh, I get it. You made it look the way you wanted it to look. But that, and if you hold it, you know how you hold it and it does the thing where, can you hear all the people? If you tap it or something, it's a live picture. Do you see what I mean? It's like, here we are, just listening to music. Finished, took the thing off, said whatever I said to him, left. That was it. But this guy who's suing him, going after the money, man. I'm sure. And by the way, I don't know P. Diddy's life. I don't know what he's going through. I don't know what the police are going to find on all of that.
Were you guys close? Were you guys friends, or?
We were acquaintances, just like I just showed you. Yeah. 2-3 times I've seen him. So it's.
Oh, so Diddy, you've only seen him 2 or 3 times.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So why would they include you all of a sudden in some way?
I think because of the darkness of the other grab of the cases that I already had went through.
Right. A lot of that stuff is 18 though, 19, right? Those are from 5-6 years ago. That's cases. That's right. And that was that at the peak of the Me Too movement, or was that pre-Me Too movement?
That's right.
That's
right when it kicked off. Yeah,
right.
That was crazy.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Diddy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
but I did not know that you guys only hung out 2 or 3 times.
That's it, man.
And 50 was with you for your 56th birthday. I think you guys were hanging out together in Miami.
Yeah, because we were in St. Bart's on that boat, but then in Miami, which is where I run around now, of course, I ran into 50, and he was promoting his champagne. I've seen Drake 100 times around town. He loves Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50.
I'm big with the rappers, man.
How do you feel about 50? How's 50 like?
It's so funny. I got a call from 50 who reached out to me and said, "We got to uplift our black entertainers and let's work together." I said, "Great." So we'll see. I try not to voice any of my opinion when it comes to the rap songs because just like everybody else, I'm into that music, man.
Are you following the Lamar and Drake thing?
No, I just heard about that.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, that's like a whole...
Somebody just got shot today outside of Drake's house.
I heard.
See that?
I heard.
So, I mean, it's like drive-by shooting in a gated community. I mean, that sounds a little crazy.
Yeah, Drake's security guard seriously injured in shooting at Toronto's mansion. Guard was shot inside Drake's home and had serious but non-life-threatening injuries while the assailant fled in a vehicle.
Yeah, I say to them, just like I said to Tupac when I saw him in the lobby of that hotel in Chicago. He said, "Hey, man, help me, man. Give me some advice." I said, "Hey, man, just remember your artistry first. I know you're getting caught up with all this madness, but you're an artist now." He said, "Thanks, Cube." He hugged me and he went off. And
how old was he at the time?
Well, 2-3 weeks later, he was gone.
Oh, no shit.
I saw him, and here's the second time I saw Tupac. This is a true story. Now, I don't like the conspiracy things. But that day, he was in a convertible, like Rolls Royce. He was at the stop sign. Now I was on a hockey tournament, so I was in Vegas as well, playing hockey, and Tyson had his fight. And I jumped out of the car and I ran up to his car. Pac, it's Cube! And all 3 cars, all these cars, boom, 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 with the guns.
Get out.
No, that's Cube good, man. Hey, that's Cube good. And I go, "Oh, sorry, man." He goes, "You good?" I go, I'm good. I'm sorry, guys, got in the car. So that happens that day when the sun's out, and at night they get shot and there's no cops around.
Here.
That's a true story. I was involved in that.
So in the morning, few hours later, he's gone.
Yeah. Yes. And so where were all of those undercover cops that pulled the guns on me when I tried to approach him sitting in his car convertible?
What are you saying?
I'm just saying it's weird that they were going to blow me away, and I'm Academy Award winner. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because that's 96. So and 96, you're like everywhere.
I'm the man.
Yeah, you're the man in 96.
Like, we don't care. Get away. Back up.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
By the way, what did he pay you for Jerry Maguire? I forgot to ask you earlier. Was that your big payday?
No, yeah, at that point, $600,000.
What's the biggest you made for a movie?
Oh, Snow Dogs. I can't talk hell about Snow Dogs. Whoa, that was a good year. Well, that's 1-2 hit, baby. 13 million total that year.
Wow.
I made a lot of money.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Good for you.
You know that money's gone.
Good.
I already spent that money.
Really?
Yeah, $13 million.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you made some good investments.
I made some investments, but that money.
Hey,
the public reaction
if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch...
Online discussions grew heated, with fans taking opposing sides. Podcasts and commentators examined each statement closely, debating its meaning and potential implications. Some critics dismissed 50 Cent's remarks as frustration, while others viewed them as long overdue observations that many had hesitated to voice. Throughout the response, Jay-Z remained publicly silent. That absence of comment drew increasing attention, with many questioning whether the silence was a strategic choice or a necessity shaped by the circumstances. In high-profile situations, choosing not to speak can carry as much impact as making a statement. At times, restraint itself shapes the narrative. When words are withheld, the uncertainty that follows can become the most powerful element of all.
Diddy Rich. Can you elaborate on that?
Bro, I told this to this one guy the other day. I'd rather have a slow nickel than a fast dollar any day. My slow nickel put bread on my table. My slow nickel pays my mortgage. My slow nickel brings me home to my family. My slow nickel builds a community. We see what the fast dollar does. Being Diddy Rich takes a guy that once name was Puffy that after every tragedy he had in his life, he had to change his name. Puffy, Puff Daddy, Diddy, Brother Love, Love. Puffy, from the DC tragedy, went through when those kids was trampled over. I think 1 or 2 kids died at a function in DC that he gave. Puffy. City College. Puff Daddy. Diddy. Biggie. Becomes named to Diddy. And now the allegations with Cassie and everything, he went from brother love to love. Being Diddy rich have you thinking you something that you're not. That you greater than what you're supposed to be and the people around you. When I say I'd rather be my poor with my peace of mind, with my own thoughts, my own community, my own love, with my family, than to be so rich that I'm thinking I'm something that I'm not. That's what they do, bro. Look how many times, what was that? You ever go to a club, it's a big shootout, and it was the Mirage, and then you come back 2 weeks later, now it's the Zone. They changed their name after every shootout. That's what happens.
I wasn't in the ad because of Jay-Z and them was putting it together. Mm-hmm. So I think they still harbor some energy towards me.
You think you were purposely left out of the ad?
No. I don't think. I think that they were saying the NFL has some issues with me that I don't know what those issues are. Like, what is the issue? You see what I'm saying? Like, and with him, because like Nori was, we had communication. You said, yeah, that's what I talked to the big homie. He was saying to Jay, he was telling me, the white boy wouldn't do the truth without 50.
I hit the homie, the big homie Jay-Z, right? And I told him to come pull up on me. And he pulled up on me, and he said,
right? And I'm like, that's when I start saying crazy stuff, baby. I look and I go, oh, that's your big homie, right? And so you image yourself after a gay painter. Big homie want to look like a gay painter.
What are we talking about here?
We're talking about Basquiat. He wants to look like a gay painter.
Oh my God, I think I know where we're going with
So
this.
now look, what I'm saying to you is, look, when you start looking at, if that's not mine, that's theirs, their heartbreak, right? But when you look at, M is looking at the entire legacy.
Yeah.
The whole thing, like with M.
At this stage, the two figures appear to stand in sharply different places. Jay-Z has chosen silence, supported by a long-established reputation and a highly successful business legacy. 50 Cent, by contrast, has taken a more public and confrontational stance, openly questioning industry practices rather than distancing himself from them. Both artists have left a lasting mark on hip-hop and its culture. Yet the discussion now centers less on influence and more on reflection. One path emphasizes preservation and control, while the other raises questions about how power is built and maintained. Whether recent developments point to proven wrongdoing or simply expose how influence operates behind the scenes remains unresolved. What is clear, however, is that visibility without responsibility rarely endures. As public attention eventually moves on and history reassesses this era, the lasting debate may not focus on wealth or status, but on how power was used and what it ultimately demanded in return.